Forget Blackbeard. Forget every peg-legged pirate you've ever seen in a movie. The most powerful pirate who ever lived wasn't a man, and she didn't die in a hail of cannon fire. She commanded a fleet bigger than most nations' navies. She ruled the South China Sea. She beat 3 empires. And when it was all over, she walked away rich, pardoned, and free. Her name was Ching Shih. Yes, her. At her peak, she led as many as 80,000 pirates across 1,800 ships. That's more sailors than the entire British Royal Navy had at the time. By any measure, she was the most successful pirate in human history, and almost nobody knows her name. This is how a woman from nowhere became the terror of the South China Sea. Here's the strange part. We don't really know where she came from. No birth records, no family name that survived. Even the name history hands us, Ching Shih, barely counts as one. It means, more or less, the widow of Ching. Historians can't even agree on the year she was born, somewhere around 1775. What we do know is that she grew up in the floating world of Canton, the great southern port the West called China's front door. And by her 20s, the story goes, she was working on one of the flower boats that crowded the harbor. She was clever, she was fearless, and she saw everything. That's where it really begins, because in 1801, a pirate walked in and fell for her. His name was Ching Shih, and he was already a legend. He commanded the Red Flag Fleet, a pirate army that raided the coast whenever it pleased. When he proposed, she said yes, but on her terms. She wanted an equal share of the plunder. She wanted an equal say in every decision. He agreed. For 6 years, they ran the fleet side by side, and it grew into something the sea had never seen. Then, in 1807, Ching Shih was gone, swept overboard in a storm off the coast of Vietnam. Any other widow of the age would have disappeared into history. Ching Shih did the opposite. She took the whole thing over, and she did it before his body was cold, because she knew the fleet would test a widow, and she gave it no opening. She moved through her late husband's captains one by one, rewarding the loyal, cornering the ambitious, until the men who might have replaced her were quietly standing behind her instead. Then she sealed it with a partnership. His young protege, Chiang Po-tsi, a fisherman's son Ching Shih had adopted as his own. Together, they turned a loose band of raiders into a war machine. At its height, her confederation numbered somewhere between 70 and 80,000 pirates, spread across as many as 1,800 ships. To put that in perspective, Blackbeard sailed with 4 ships and a few hundred men. Ching Shih ran a floating nation. And picture what that nation actually was. Her ships weren't only fighting vessels, they were homes. Whole families lived aboard the junks. Wives, children, grandparents, all packed in between the cannons and the rice barrels. Some pirates were born at sea and grew up never once setting foot on solid ground. The fleet grew vegetables in pots on deck, brewed its own liquor, kept its own bookkeepers. And the coastal villages soon learned the arrangement. They didn't wait in terror for the next raid. They paid her a steady tax, and in return, her ships sailed on by. This wasn't a gang. It was a government that happened to float. And she ruled it with a code, a real, written code, and it was ruthless. Every coin, every crate, every stolen sack of rice had to be logged for the whole fleet before anyone touched it. Pocket something on the side, and you died. Desert your post in battle, and you died. Give an order of your own without her approval, and you died. Slip ashore without leave, and they'd cut a hole through your ear and march you past the whole fleet. Do it a second time, and that was the end of you. But the rules that shocked outsiders most were about the women they captured. A pirate could take a female captive as a wife, but the moment he did, he belonged to her. Force himself on her, or lay a cruel hand on her, and the punishment was death. On the deck of a pirate ship, in the most lawless corner of the world, Ching Shih ran one of the most disciplined organizations on Earth. The emperor wanted her gone. In 1808, the Imperial Navy sailed out to crush the pirates once and for all. It did not go well for the emperor. Ching Shih's fleet didn't just win. It captured 63 of the emperor's own warships and turned them against him. The admiral who led the assault, a man named Kuo Lang, was so broken by the defeat that rather than face his ruler, he took his own life. After that, imperial captains grew wary of even leaving port to face her, and the coast belonged to her more completely than ever. She had beaten the most powerful empire in Asia, and she was only getting started. When his own navy couldn't stop her, the emperor swallowed his pride and called in help. The Portuguese sent a squadron of warships up from their colony at Muscio W. The British, the same Royal Navy that ruled the world's oceans, lent their guns to the hunt. And in the winter of 1809, the combined fleets cornered her ships in the narrows of the Tiger's Mouth, the guarded gateway to the Pearl River, and tried to seal them in. It became a grinding, weeks-long blockade of cannon fire and boarding parties. And still she held 3 empires, hurling everything they had at a single woman. Not one of them could break her. So how does a story like this end? Not the way you'd think. Ching Shih was far too smart to wait for the tide to turn against her. In 1810, with her fleet still strong but the walls closing in, she did what almost no pirate in history ever pulled off. She didn't send a messenger. She walked into the governor's headquarters herself, unarmed, flanked by the wives and children of her captains, and sat down across from the men who'd spent years trying to kill her. And she negotiated. She held out until the terms were exactly what she wanted, and what she won was almost insulting in how good it was. Her pirates would be pardoned. They'd keep their plunder. When it was signed, some 17,000 of them laid down their arms and came ashore. Hundreds were even handed jobs in the imperial military. Her partner, Chung Po Tsi, was made an officer in the very navy that had been chasing him. And Ching Shih herself? She kept her fortune and strolled out a free woman. She wasn't even 40. She'd conquered the sea, humbled 3 empires, and retired on her own terms with every coin of it. She settled back in Canton, married Chung Po Tsi, and naturally opened a gambling house. She lived out her days a wealthy, respected old woman, and died quietly in bed in 1844, around the age of 69. No last stand, no gallows, no treasure lost beneath the waves. Just a woman who came from nothing, built the largest pirate fleet the world has ever known, stared down the great empires of her age, and won. Her name was Ching Shih. Now you know it.